So if you're not familiar with how proceedings get underway in 9-ball, this is the lag to decide who gets the break. Basically, you've got to send the cue ball to the far cushion, and whoever brings it back closest to the near cushion gets to start us off. In this case, it's Fedor Gorst. Oh, watch the 9, watch the 9. What a start, a golden break with the very first shot of the match. And in basically 3 or 4 seconds, Fedor Gorst has opened a 1-0 lead, Carl.
Incredible scenes, because he's trying to pop the 1 ball in the side pocket. You could see it went too low. But as you'll see in a minute, look at the cue ball. Come off 2 rails and cut it in the corner. A little freebie there for Gorst.
So again, if you're new to the game, so long as you hit the lowest numbered ball remaining on the table first, any pot is legal and it keeps you at the table. The winner of the rack is the player who pots the 9. And if in the course of all that, you pot the 9 with the first shot of the rack, it's a golden break and the rack is yours. And you know, Carl, a lot of these people, this is probably the first time they've ever been to a pool tournament. What a thing to see on your very first shot. Straight on to rack 2. This is pretty sweet as well.
Yeah, he can certainly cut the 2 ball in. It looks like it's going down towards the 6 ball. That's where he's just eyeing up now. Suppose at least the red 3 ball's over near the left corner. Never quite sure where the cue ball's going to end up.
Extension call.
And you cannon into a ball like Fedor had to. So overall, at least he has a shot, so he can't be too disheartened, but it's long. There you see, that's what he's faced with. He'll play this with a little bit of pace and all, so if he catches that left-hand side rail with pace, the ball won't go in. There's a mile off. Didn't even threaten the pocket there.
Yeah, he obviously wouldn't have wanted to leave himself a shot like that on the 3, but had it gone in, he could have seen it as serving further notice to Albin Ouschan of how well he's playing. Anyway, that chance has passed, and Ouschan gets his first shot of the match.
Looks like he's going to chip the red 3 in between the brown 7 and the pink 4. This is what Fedor Gorst will be faced with time and time again. He's a master in the safety department, Ouschan. He really is. Getting a 2-rail kick here. Underneath the pink 4. 2 rails. May scratch in the bottom left. And the cue ball was always tracking towards that pocket.
It's been a long time since Albin Ouschan won a match in this tournament, 5 years ago in fact.
Extension called.
Lost in the quarter-finals eventually to Skylar Woodward. No event the following year because of COVID. And in each of the last 3 years, gone out opening match. That, of course, was prior to this week. Yeah, so the shot clock situation then, and the rule about extensions. You're allowed 1 per rack, which gives you an extra 30 seconds. Otherwise, it's 30 seconds per shot, and the beeps start to go off when you've got 5 of those seconds left. After the break or push out at the start, you get 60 seconds as standard.
Poor positional shot. That's why he was kicking at the pink 4. You can play the combo here, you can cut the pink 4 onto the 8 ball. That means he would stay at the table because he's hit the lowest ball first.
And so often when you play a combination, always value ball, then remaining on the table, stays in the pocket like this. Setting up a straightforward shot to follow. Straightforward is also a term you could apply to what now stands between Gorst and a 2-0 lead. Did miss that pot from distance, by some distance earlier on, but otherwise it's been a very competent start. Bit of good fortune in the opening rack. He's added the second. Fedor Gorst leads Albin Ouschan 2-0. Interested to hear you say, Carl, that you're not so sure about the view that Gorst is the best player in the world, so who are you putting ahead of him?
Well, I mean, if we're talking on the World 9-ball tour, there's got to be a few, haven't there? In fairness, I mean, we can only judge it off the events that, you know, we work on, that we promote on the circuit.
I guess the counter-argument to that, though, would be that, as we were saying, last season was his first full year of playing in these events. He missed all of 22, and the fact that he got all the way up to number 3 in the world on 1 year's points.
100%. I totally agree. I know how good Fedor is. I'm just talking about, you know, when we're saying who the best is, I mean, I don't see how people can label it Gorst at the minute. You know, when you look at what Phil has done in the Matchroom arena, the man on the right, you know, there's SVP, let's not forget about that man.
Rack 3.
I guess with these things, always the question is, how long a period of time are you basing it on? Are you saying over the last 6 months, the last year, the last 5 years? Certainly been the best player so far in this match, but not much in it really. 2-0.
Believe me, I know Fedor Gorst will win in this Matchroom arena one day. I know it will come. He's far too good not to.
Yeah, he did win the World Championship as a teenager in 2019, but that was before it became one of these Matchroom events. In fact, it was the last staging prior to that. Like all these debates, though, isn't it? talk about who's the best and who people think. Ultimately, all that matters is results, titles, and in that debate, rankings. And Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, I think you'd find it hard to make the case that he's the best player in the world at the moment, but he is #1 in the rankings, and that's because he won those 2 big titles within a few months of each other, the US Open and the World Championship, and he's earned it on merit.
Oh, well, Fedor Gorst takes care of these. The balls are sitting quite nice for Fedor. I'm going to ask you the same question, Michael, because obviously I'm looking at it from sort of playing eyes. What about from your eyes? Who would you say the best player in the world is?
I think you're leaning towards Filler, and instinctively I would have to say the same. But then that's the other question. Are you judging players on the best form they're capable of delivering? Now, I think if you are going on that criteria, you probably have to say Filler.
One thing I do know, we're blessed to have so many good players, aren't we? You know, pools played all over the world. I know there's all sorts of different size tables and games wherever you go, but I truly believe, having been around pool tables from the age of 14, I believe 9-ball is the most exciting of them all.
You look at the number of players who turn up to all these big full field events, probably feeling with some justification that they have a chance of winning one of them, and they can never get anywhere near it, simply because there are just too many other good players like these two. Eventually you've got to get past maybe 3 or 4 players of this level to win a tournament like that.
Albin missed a trick in rack 2, didn't he? He had that long 3-ball, and it was the rack when Fedor missed the long 3-ball. Albin didn't miss the 3-ball, but he overrun position by quite some margin, and we've seen what Ko Pin-Yi did to Ruiz. You miss these chances, what you really feel like you should get, you can get severely punished.
So all one-way traffic so far in this quarter-final. A golden break in the first rack. A break and run in the third, and he won another one in between. So Fedor Gorst, in very little time really, has established a 3-0 lead. Fedor Gorst couldn't really have asked more of himself in the early stages of this quarter-final. As Ben Taylor-Fuente has just informed us, Gorst leads 3-0. Race to 10 for a place in the last 4. Working pretty well from tonight so far, Carl, but what would you say in general terms about Gorst's breaking ability?
Yeah, very good indeed. Consistent, hits the cue ball nice, doesn't hold back as well, gives it, you know, some power, and he makes the 1 ball a high percentage of the time. Pretty much all about the first shot here, it looks like. Doesn't really want to be straight. Purple 5 will pass the 8 ball, so it's actually not the end of the world if he was fairly straight. Yeah, just pulls the cue ball back.
that week in September in Atlantic City. Everything
Extension
seemed
call.
to be pointing towards him winning the US Open. The announcement of him switching allegiances to the US, all part of that. And he was playing so well. Established a decent lead in the final against Ko Ping Chung at 6-3. Didn't win another rack. Ko won 10 in a row for the title. Closest he's been so far to winning one of these Matchroom individual titles.
Yeah, he's cued that one nicely. That angle was a lot steeper than it looked, so you've got to time the cue ball nicely. What we're seeing today, unlike SVB versus Dong Kwok Kwan last night, where both players made a lot of mistakes but didn't get punished, today just seems to be a day on the table. If you make an error, you're going to get punished by losing 3-4 racks. It's happened all day and it's happening here. Albin's getting punished for rack 2.
Yeah, and it's just such a strong lineup, isn't it? Top 7 players in the world all got through. The only exception is the man who won this tournament last year, Ko Pin Yi. No surprise at all that it's been a tough school on this Saturday here in Hildesheim.
This is pacey, you know. This is way too pacey. Okay. Albin will know. This is very thin. Cue ball will be moving at pace. He's renowned for his banking skills and a very good banker of the ball. Okay, first sort of little moment, big moment if you like in this match. Can he take care of the 8 ball? He's played safe. Don't blame him.
So look for all the world as though it was going to be back-to-back break and runs. Ouschan surprised and no doubt pleased to be back at the table at all in this rack.
Yeah, I'll tell you how big of a moment this is. If Gorst wins the rack, he'll be breaking in rack 5 with a 4-0 lead. If Albin can get a kick pot or a kick safe, he's got a couple of options here. He'll be breaking at 3-1 down. That's how big this moment is. Watch outside pocket. This needs to bounce. He wanted it up near the top rail. Gorst has got an outside chance of a pot here. Great pot. Was trying to miss the 9 ball. And play the bank in the right centre pocket. Same as before. This is a big moment coming up. If he banks this in the right centre, he goes 4 up. May fluke it in the left centre as well.
Take that to the bank. So the door was opened just a little bit for Albin Ouschan. He wasn't able to capitalise though. The shot he played was poor, to be fair, but Gorst still had a lot of work to do. Good shots on the 8 and the 9, and he's now eased in to a 4-0 lead. He's not a man of many words. He's very softly spoken. He practices all the time and he plays in loads of tournaments, big and small. Could you say he's a bit of a younger Van Boning? A lot of similarities to Shane Van Boning, maybe a slightly younger version of him.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I think Van Boning's got his own unique style. He uses that long cue, and for me, SVB's the best power play player I've ever seen, where he's got to get the cue ball moving and firing the balls in. I think Gorst is a bit more like Steve Davis, you know, very compact the way he cues.
Rack 5.
Just in terms of the quiet way they go about their business and their dedication, more from that point of view.
Okay, worrying times for Albin. He'll know that. I know he's not had a great deal of opportunity like Gorst has in off the break, but he has had 2 chances in 2 of the racks out of the 4, so pink 4 ball, he's awkward, doesn't go past the 8, and the combination is very tricky, so he's got to play a good shot from the red 3 to the pink 4.
You mentioned Steve Davis there, and Jeremy Jones is actually going to the Crucible for the first time ever on Monday, and he's very excited about the prospect of meeting Steve Davis, who of course he played many times when Steve was a big name in his own right on the 9-ball scene.
Yeah, this is good. He had a beautiful angle on the red 3.
Look at that, the total balls potted, and remember, that's allowing for the fact that the first rack was won with only 1 ball potted. So I mentioned that US Open final, the defeat that he had. He did win a couple of other long-established big events, not on the same scale at all, but still decent events in the US during last year. Derby City Classic, beating Shane Van Boening. Saw off Mika Immonen in the Turning Stone in September, both ranking events. Won another ranking event in Hanoi soon after that, just before the Hanoi Open itself.
Extension call.
He seemed to lose an awful lot of quarter-finals in the course of last year. To Filler at the European Open, to Shaw, the eventual winner in the Hanoi Open. Perhaps the one that disappointed him the most, though, was the Spanish Open, where he was beaten by Pius Labutus, who he would have been a big favourite to get past. Well, a lot of spectators here tonight, and at the moment, Albin Ouschan is one of them. This is absolutely relentless stuff. And another fairly perfect rack from Fedor Gorst. He's already halfway to victory here. Albin Ouschan looking very concerned in his chair. So as we said, he did win the World Championship a few years ago, when it was a different sort of thing really to what it is now. He came up just short in the US Open. Is there anything in particular you feel he needs to improve on or work on to take that step to win one of these really big events? Or is it a case of he's good enough already and just has to wait for it to be his week?
Yeah, I think with Fedor Gorst, at the end of the day, it's a case of, you know, when he's going to be stood there with a trophy. But the good news is, there you see the Matchroom schedule. There's plenty of tournaments to go at.
Yeah, the one we've all got our eyes on, the World Championship being played in Saudi Arabia for the first time. It's really not much more than a month away now. And other dates announced already there, you can see, for the UK Open and the European Open, both in their third year now. The US Open has been around, of course, since 1976. There will be other events of a similar scale announced in due course for later on in the year. And we're all building towards those two big team events. The Mosconi Cup, which has been around now for 3 decades, and the Reyes Cup, which is going to be played for the first time in Manila in October, Europe versus Asia. Fedor Gorst won't be there. Plays for the US now, and he's flying in this match.
Yeah, this is just the game of 9-ball. You know, off the break, you just never know what shot you're going to get faced with. And today, it just seems that the player that has got out into, you know, the big lead, things are continuing. Albin just needs opportunities. He needs chances like Gorst has been getting. And he'll get back in this match. There's no doubt about it. He's playing safe here, trying to get the 2 on the top rail.
Well, when you're in this position, keep your opponent under pressure. Don't give him the opportunity to get that chance to start turning it round.
Yeah, I always feel like if you're in Albin's position here, just
Extension call.
forget that it's 5-0. Just, you know, take it in, take the, you know, the facts in that you're 5-0 down. But it's a race to 10. He's only halfway there. So if you said to Albin Ouschan now, would you take 9-9 Hill? He'd snap your hand off, and he's quite capable of winning 9 racks to 4 against Gorst. Set yourself mini targets. It's gone wrong. Needs to hope the 6-ball is tied up on the 8-ball.
It was a really good turnaround against Shane Van Boening, wasn't it? In the Hanoi Open last October, which turned around his year really, because for a lot of 2023 he'd been struggling.
Extension call.
He ended up basically getting within 1 ball effectively of winning the title that week. And that in turn saw him into the Mosconi team, which he might not have been in without that run. He got to end the year on the high of being part of yet another winning European team. Sixth time he'd done that.
A pinch a bit in the pocket. Good shot. I think this green 6-ball goes past the 8. And that's perfect as well. Settling into this match. Started off with a golden break, then he missed that long 3-ball. So it just shows you how you can settle down into a match when you get opportunities.
The US were pinning so many of their hopes on Fedor Gorst when he joined their team for the Mosconi Cup. He was one of the better performers. In fact, of the 3 points they did manage to get, he was involved in 2 of them. Doubles wins with Skylar Woodward and Shane Van Boening. barring a miscue or something like that. An inevitability about how this one is finishing. It's another rack on the board. It's a happy half dozen for Fedor Gorst. Albin Ouschan just can't get involved in this one. Fedor Gorst is already only 4 away from victory. He leads Albin Ouschan, the 2-time world champion, by 6 racks to 0. Albin Ouschan has got the words 6-0 running through his head. He doesn't want to see any other numbers like these, but we can take a look at them. Look at the pot success there, Gorst. Pretty close to perfection. And one stat that isn't on there is the table time, which is 89% for Gorst, only 11% for Ouschan. And that really reflects the way the Austrian has really not been able to get involved in the match at all yet. 3 breaking runs you can see there. That includes a golden break. We saw on the opening rack.
That's what I was talking about, Michael. It's just
Make sure your phone's on silent, please.
It's just our sport. You just never know what's going to happen off the break. He's been breaking good. He's been getting shots, and now he's going to be playing the rollout. And you know, even though Albin's not had a lot of the table time, if you look at the hook that he played on himself and then the kick where he didn't quite get the 8-ball safe, you know, the match could have been 4-2 and this could be the position. I know it's all hindsight, but anyway, can Albin Ouschan try and get back in this match? Fedor Gorst with the push out.
Albin, it's your choice.
So how do you read the situation facing him here?
Yeah, you can see the right edge of the 3. I'm sat up in the gods and I'm right behind the cue ball. He's got about half a ball, maybe just less than half a ball. Looks tricky to get in behind the pink 4. I don't know if that angle is quite there. Just looking at, can he bank the 3 over onto the right hand side rail and use the purple 5 as cover as well? I think he may give this back. He's down having another look. Or is he playing it? Playing the shot. Yeah, he wasn't happy, you know, and the reason why is because he knew he couldn't really get safe, but what he has done is made sure he's found the top rail, leave the 3 in the middle of the slate, middle of the table, and he knows it's not going to be easy for Gorst to pop this ball and get on the pink 4.
Won over $250,000 around the world in 2023, Fedor Gorst. That's the sort of level of earnings the top pool players are achieving now. All these events and so much opportunity. If he has a similar year this year, he'll go over $1 million for what's been quite a short career so far. A big gap in the middle with COVID and various travel issues.
It's a good shot. Albin can only see a slim edge of this red 3, and I mean it's slim. So hitting it.
Extension call.
Doesn't really offer much, does it? So you might have to kick off the left rail.
It's already feeling like a big rack, isn't it? Obviously, Ouschan hasn't got the opening to get in yet, but at least he's getting involved in this rack a bit more, and sort of feeling he's got to win it.
Yeah, and if he does go on to win it, he needs to break well, he needs to get shots off the break. if he's going to come back in this match. He's digging low. It's a good effort. I like it. Maybe he could see quite a bit more of the ball than initially thought. Just tried to get the red 3 on the top rail, didn't he? It's awkward queuing for Gorst this though. He's jacked up over the 8 ball. And he can cut this ball in, but boy, you need some good eyes for this one. The red 3 ball again in that pocket, and is it just Gorsty's day? He's not left anything easy. He's got a real tricky combination to play here, Michael.
Yeah, the combination goes back to what we were describing earlier. For those of you not familiar with the game, got to hit the 3 first here. It's the lowest value ball remaining on the table. But having done that, potting the 6 via the 3 is a legal pot, keeps him at the table, and in this instance, it provides him with a chance to finally get a rack on the board. First ball he's potted, not far short of half an hour of play.
It's a great little stat, that. I always thought that wouldn't be possible in the game of pool. I know you see them stats come up in snooker a lot, don't you? That was a little shy of pace. He'd have liked the cue ball to have been straight, and he could have just played a stop shot. Now he'll play this 2 rails back out to the centre of the table. You just don't want to leave it short when you're playing that shot, but that's nice. I expect the crowd to react once Albin takes care of these last 3 balls. They want to see a comeback.
So in the end, Ouschan actually had a little bit of good fortune that he was left the opportunity to play the combination off the back of Gorst's miss. But he still had a pretty good shot to pull that combination off. And he's done the rest from there. Albin Ouschan has finally won his first rack. It's now 6-1 to Fedor Gorst. Let's have a quick look over in the practice area, because we do have another match coming up later on tonight. Shane Van Boning is generally to be found on the practice tables, whatever's going on in an event. He will be playing Jason Shaw in what I think is probably, on paper, the standout tie of this quarter-final round. They're both working away there. Van Boning, very much the big name on the American Mosconi Cup team. Played a big part in the 2 successes they have had in the relatively recent past. And Jason Shaw, well, we know all about him and the Mosconi Cup and what it means to him and what a leader he's been for the European team. And that's been made official now, because he will actually be the Mosconi Cup captain for the first time later this year. He and Skylar Woodward were confirmed a few weeks ago as playing captains, and they will both be playing whatever sort of a year they have.
Albin Ouschan to break.
If they don't qualify automatically, it's now in the rules that they have to use one of their wild cards on themselves. Right, Ouschan has got a foothold.
Needs balls on the break though, Michael. He needs balls on the break. Well, it's not going to help your campaign. But at least he's not left a pot on the 1 ball.
given the score, you know, Carl, I think I've been very disciplined not to have mentioned up until now that this is a meeting of my pre-tournament tip for the title and yours. You went for Ouschan at the start.
Well, I did like SVB, to be honest, at the start.
Yeah, but Jeremy always takes him.
Yeah, I know, he stitched me up there, didn't he? But after Shane's match
Extension
last
call.
night, maybe it's a wise move that I picked somebody else. But he's still in the tournament. He lives to fight another day.
Yeah, and I know Jeremy was saying, actually, that Van Boning was still struggling a bit with the after effects of a lot of travel recently, so maybe having had a day's rest, we might see a different SVB tonight.
Smart play, this. Using the 5 and the 9 ball. He knew he couldn't avoid the cannon on the 7 ball, so he knew the cue ball would stay over in that corner of the table. That's what he can see on the 1 ball.
Extension call.
Again, the 5 ball, the purple 5 and the 9 ball, using as blockers.
It may not lead anywhere.
Yeah, Albin knows Fedor fluked the ball, of course he does, but he also knows he's not got an easy shot, so it's not all doom and gloom. That's what a pool player will do, they'll look at where the ball's gone, the lowest ball. Always one of the most difficult safety shots. You've got to play off him thin. He's hit this one too thick, and is the 5 ball going to come to the rescue? It is. There's the raise of the hand. Things are going Gorsty's way. That's not what he played.
Yeah, the fluked one probably didn't bother Ouschan a few moments ago. It might bother him a bit more now because it gave Gorst the chance to play the shot, which, through Gorst's good fortune, left Ouschan with another question to answer.
Yeah, Albin will know how difficult the safety shot was to try and hit it super thin. Often you see the players hit them thick. Oh, the purple 5, Michael. The purple 5 is causing problems in the middle of the table.
I think we need to hire that purple 5 as a security guard.
No, it needs to stay over the pocket for Albin so he can kick it in using the rail. Can he kick it in? I don't know. Has he finished touching the rail? This is insane. I think it's touching the point. So he can't go off the right-hand side, the long rail as we call it. So the bottom rail, or the short rail. I don't know if he can spin it in using that rail. It all depends on if this 2-ball is touching the rail or not. He couldn't make it. He couldn't make it. Oh, he's having a lot of fun out there. Sometimes that's all you can do, you know. That is all you can do.
Yeah, and it's probably a good thing for him, because we often see him looking so intense at the table and he gets in his own head. Just have a moment like that, just a bit of the tension out of yourself.
What's going to happen here? No, he's not fluking the 9. I can't look.
No. He may have left a chance at the 2.
Well, he's jacked up though, so
Yeah.
he's half got away with it.
Even when Ouschan is being thrown a piece of fortune here, it's not a full piece of fortune. Oh, nowhere near. Now, is it the green 6 coming to the rescue?
It is, it's just one of them racks, this. Albin needs the luck, not Gorst. Getting it, but, you know, he's renowned as the best player with the short stick. Very, very reliable when he's jumping over the ball. He's trying to pot this. Too thick. Oh, he's not, has he? This has been the craziest rack of this year's Masters. Nobody can get an open look at the 2-ball. And it's the 5-ball again.
It's a huge rack in the context of the match. Ouschan wins it, that's 2 in a row, and it's the first green shoots of a potential recovery. If he loses it, 7-1, be hard to see him coming back from that.
Well, he's potted it, but he's hooked behind the green 6. Wow.
Even Germany's own Joshua Filler will do well to get a cheer like that in this arena this weekend.
That's what he's faced with. He's going off the top rail near the 8-ball. He's got to play it hard. He's got to get the cue ball straightening up. Oh, that's a good hit. I mean, have you ever seen a rack like this in your life? I've seen thousands, I've seen millions of racks of 9-ball. I've played them. I've never seen anything as wild as this rack. It has had simply everything.
Well, in terms of strokes of luck, both good and bad for both players, I can't think of any rack I've ever seen that comes close to this. And there are still only 3 balls gone off the table.
Well, he made a good hit, didn't he? And I suppose Jeremy says all the time it pays to hit. And then he's missed that by a mile. But he has left him jacked up, and if he's dead straight, this is awkward as well.
Perhaps didn't help Ouschan there that he'd put himself under time pressure a bit. Used his extension. And he can often be quite slow to focus on the next shot. He walks around the table, looks up to the sky, throws his hands up in the air a bit. And doesn't make it any easier when you leave yourself just a second or two to make the stroke.
Nice, smartly played. He knew he couldn't do anything with a cue ball, so just try and roll the ball in the pocket and leave yourself a long shot. there's a small weakness in the game of Gorst, I feel like it's his long game with power. He's potted it, not off the right jaw.
Yeah, that was a quality strike, and after everything we've seen in this rack, it's now looking more likely than not it's going to end the same way as almost every rack which has preceded it. Seems a long time ago now since Albin Ouschan hit the first shot of this rack. You said it, Carl, he needed to get the break working quickly if he was to turn winning rack 7 into the start of something more sustained. It didn't happen. Through many twists and turns, it looks as though Gorst is going to restore a gap of half a dozen racks. Coming up to 12 minutes this rack has been going on. Mightn't seem that long, but in the context of what we've witnessed before, that's a quarter of the duration of the entire contest so far. This for 7-1. What a wild and crazy rack of pull that was. But in the end, it's gone the way of Fedor Gorst. And he's only 3 away now from making it through to the last day of this World Masters. Well, I think we could happily watch that whole rack again, but we only have time to see a few moments from it, so let's do that. As they both ponder what they've just gone through. Talk us through some of these, Carl.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's played the jump shot, we know that. Fluked it off the 2-ball, I believe it was. And then this one, he tried to pot it, a 5-ball come round to hook Albin. But Albin had his fair share with this little beauty. It was a good hit on the 3, to be fair. And we know he missed that long 3-ball. There was maybe a dozen flukes in that one rack. Both players will be glad to see the back of it.
But it wasn't just the flukes, it was things like players just very unexpectedly finding themselves blocked by other balls, and Gorst, of course, got jacked up at one stage when he did get a chance.
Rack 9, Fedor Gorst to break.
Anyway, we probably won't see anything like that again for some time. Gorst would love to see it going back to business as usual here. 7-1.
Really has been breaking well. He broke well in the first round match against Mario Heat, and he has kept that breaking up. He's made the 1-ball consistently.
I'd like to see a stat on how many times that purple 5 spun round there.
He's played a big part in this match, the purple 5, hasn't it?
It's going to have its own agent by the end of the night.
He's chopped it in nice there, hasn't he? The 6-ball goes as well. I know I'm looking a little bit ahead, but I'm just trying to see if Albin's got any hope in this rack, and I don't believe he has. It's been one of them days, I said before. Previous 2 matches this afternoon was pretty much one-sided, wasn't he? And the players making mistakes, sometimes you get punished and sometimes you dodge a bullet like SVB did last night. But pool fans around the world, Michael, will be glad he dodged the bullet, because what a blockbuster match we have to finish off this evening's play. when SVB takes on Shaw.
Yeah, that was the one we all saw, wasn't it? We assessed the quarter-final lineup. May not have to wait too long to see it now.
Extension call.
Now, one of the local television companies where Fedor lives in the US went round his house a few weeks ago. I don't know if you saw it, Carl. They produced a lovely feature with himself and his girlfriend, Christina Tkach, who's a very competent player herself. And just to hear the two of them talking to fine young people, it's just a wonderful thing for the image of the game.
Yeah, we're talking about the young players at the top of the sport. Gorst, he's dating Christina Tkach, one of the young female players who's, you know, near the top of the tree in the ladies' game, a little bit like Pia Filler and Joshua Filler. And you've got Tyler Steyer and Margaret Fefalova, so you pronounce the second name.
Well, you're part of a Q Sports power couple yourself, Carl.
Yeah, but we've got age, that's the problem.
Well, Annette played at the Crucible, of course. She was one of the top ladies snooker players in the world.
Yeah, twice you played there. There must have been some buzz.
So Gorst did lead by 6 at one stage. Ouschan took the 7th rack. He hoped it would be the start of really eating into that lead, but now the gap between them is wider than ever. 7 in it. Fedor Gorst only needs a couple more to advance. Don't think many people would have seen this coming. It's a landslide at the moment. Gorst leads Ouschan 8-1. The first big televised major event of the year has brought us to Hildesheim in Germany, where we're having a wonderful week. And we don't have to wait too long for the next one. Just 9 days after we finish here, we'll be in Telford for the start of the UK Open. Eklund Kachi defending the title he won in fine style with that one-sided win over Joshua Filler in London last year. It's an eclectic field. Former Premier League footballer Troy Deeney has been given an invitation to participate. And soon after that, we're off to Saudi Arabia, where the World Championship will be taking place for the first time. Seems a long time ago now, since Francisco Sanchez Ruiz won the title, beating Mohamed Soufi in the final. In Poland in February of last year, he will finally get to defend it in about 5 or 6 weeks from now. Fedor Gorst, a couple of racks away from the semi-finals of the World Masters.
I was looking at the 9-ball because you got the 9-ball moving, didn't you? A little light of pace. He wanted to find the rail and use the 6 for the hook. He hasn't got that. Albin just needs to find a good safety, doesn't he? And just get a visit, a proper visit, you know, where you run 6 or 7, 8 balls just to get that feeling back in potting balls.
Extension call.
In his opening match, he played his good friend Max Lechner, and it was Albin Ouschan who was 8 racks to 1 up before Lechner staged the fight back to 8-6 and missed that 3 ball to make it 8-7.
As I was saying, that was the first match Ouschan had won in this tournament since 2019. His best World Masters was the first one he played in. Got to the semi-finals on his debut in 2017 and lost by just a couple of racks to the eventual champion, David O'Cady. Gorst's first match against Mario He. He was behind early on, 3-2, but then won 7 racks in a row. That was that.
I believe he's looking at the combo. He's got to hit the 2 ball on the left side. But this is on this for Gorst. Going to be difficult to control the cue ball, and then the 2. The 2 might bounce back. Centre of tail. He's actually got to swerve the ball. Oh, nice. Where's the cue ball going to end up? Oh, it's the purple 5 again. That's causing problems.
Speaking of Q Sports power couples, as we were, it's Joshua Filler and his wife Pia. Well, they know we're looking at them. Josh had a bit of an accident earlier today, actually. After his match, he bumped into an old friend and they leapt in the air to greet each other and fell down about 3 stairs. He was sitting with a big ice pack on his foot for much of the afternoon, but I believe he's okay now. That's the version of events I heard anyway.
Well, just make yourself at home, fellas. Just need a blanket.
Well, we are in Germany.
Foul stroke. Ball in hand.
Frustrate him. And this is going to frustrate him even more because, of course, the 9 ball goes over the pocket for the easy combo.
Please start the clock.
You know, concessions of the rack are not allowed on the World 9-ball Tour. If they were, I think Albin Ouschan would happily make one now and just get on with rack 11. And there it is. So Fedor Gorst, in a fairly anticlimactic end to that rack, really, arrives on the hill. It is 9-1. It's the nature of the sport, though, isn't it? You probably see this more often in pool than in any other sport, where a real top player ends up losing a match by a massive margin.
Yeah, the scoreline always looks big, but it doesn't really tell the full tale of a match, does it, in pool? You know, Gorst goes on to win 10-1. There's always a lot more behind the scenes to what's happened.
Well, it was Ko Pin-Yi last year, wasn't it, who went out of 2 consecutive Matchroom Open events on a scoreline of 10-0 against different opponents. And look at the year he had. Okay, so we've been building up that Shaw Van Bonen match. It may just be moments away as Fedor Gorst
on the hill, leading 9 racks
There's
to
only
1.
one more. Golden break to start. How about another to finish? Well, not golden, but not bad.
Extension called.
Can certainly pot this too, can't he? Cue ball's obviously close to it. Always feels a little unnatural as well. It's hard to see the pocket in your eye line. It's a lot easier at 9-1 up though.
Well, he used up his extension very early in the rack, but it was very much a sensible thing to do because he knew if he got that shot right, he was in with a chance to close out this match. That's exactly what's happened. He's a fairly intense figure, Albin Ouschan, and very analytical as well, but I don't think there'll be a great deal of soul-searching for him after this one because he's not really got into the contest and had a huge amount of opportunity to do much about this.
Yeah, at the end, he's looking close. Just 5 more balls for Gorst to book a place to tomorrow afternoon's semi-finals. Be more misery for Albin Ouschan at the World Pool Masters.
Yeah, Ouschan actually did pretty well in his first couple of appearances, a semi-final and a quarter-final, not a bad return, but as I said, after that he hadn't even won a match in this tournament until this week. From a very strong position, he wasn't too far away from losing that one as well. Fedor Gorst had never been to the quarter-finals of the World Masters before. In a few moments' time, it looks as though he'll be in his first semi.
He'll just simply draw the cue ball back in a straight line. All in all, it's a solid performance. He's also broke great as well. He's made the 1 ball consistently. Let's give him chances at the table.
It started with a golden break. And it's finished with a golden result for Fedor Gorst. And a remarkable scoreline. He has beaten the 2-time world champion Albin Ouschan by 10 racks to 1 and is through to the last day of the World Masters. We'll see him in the semi-finals.